Kind of sounds like he swallowed some nails before he started recording. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Molly, and in this video I'm going to be listening to the album Psalm 69 by the band Ministry. Now I'm really excited to hear this album. From what you all have been telling me in the comments, Ministry is an industrial metal band, and I tend to generally really enjoy industrial metal music. And I figured I would start with Psalm 69. This is their 5th studio album that they released in 1992. This seems to generally be the most recommended album that I listen to from them. So yeah, without further ado, let's dive right on into my reaction to Psalm 69. Alright, so starting off this album is track 1, which is called N.W.O. Oh yeah, right off the bat, I'm getting like Pretty Hate Machine by 9 Inch Nails vibes. I love it. They keep introducing like a new element. It's building this song up really well. These vocals are so growly and raspy. It kind of sounds like he swallowed some nails before he started recording. They're keeping like a very steady rhythm to this song. In that way, it's making it like very danceable, actually. Yeah, with just everything, like even those vocalizations, it's just keeping this very consistent beat throughout this whole track.
What we are looking at is good and evil, right and wrong. A new world order.
A new world order? Maybe that's why it's called N.W.O.
We're not about to make that same mistake. A new world order. A new world order.
That was track 1, N.W.O, or I assume it stands for New World Order. Such a great beat to that one. Kind of danceable, actually, like very up-tempo, but then it had that really raw, dark, sludgy sound to it as well that is like a staple of industrial music. They really pulled those vocals down. They were so heavy and it just brought a great dark vibe to that song. But great way to get this album underway. I'm going to move on now to track 2, which is called Just One Fix. I've heard this. I've definitely heard this song before. Alright, we have that really steady beat again going on with this one. All this vocal distortion, it has like a watery quality to it, almost like he's drowning or something. It's got all of this unpolished, really rough quality to its sound going on, but then this beat is just keeping things in order, if that makes sense. Like it's so steady and continuous that it's holding the song together. It sounds like a laughing effect that they're using here. Well, that was track 2, Just One Fix. I've definitely heard that song before, I just never knew it was Ministry, I guess, but that track was awesome. Very similar to the first one with its sound, between that driving beat that was just continuous through the whole thing, how it faded out there at the end, how it had those talking vocalizations too there at the end as well. So far they're definitely sticking to like a pretty cohesive sound on this album. But again, I just loved the intensity of that one, and the vocals were really unique too. They had that garbled quality, almost like he was singing underwater or something. Just a lot of sounds going on. Up next is track 3, which is called TV2. All right, this is a cool start. There was like some glitching sound effects there. Man, these instrumentals are just so speedy. I just cannot predict this song. It keeps doing something unexpected. Those guitars, man. That was track 3, TV2. That was a really, really fun one. Very speedy and rapid with its delivery. Those instrumentals were just amazing. How quick they were delivering the percussion and the guitar. But I just loved how rapid that song was. It kind of conjured up an image of like someone running frantically down the street when the instrumentals would come in, and then it would stop all of a sudden and the vocals would come in. I just really liked how they were doing that back and forth. But moving on to track 4, we have Hero. On this album so far, I'm picking up on sort of a militaristic sounding vibe at times. Like with that consistent beat, it's almost like an army marching. And then with these vocalizations of the crowd and everything, I don't know, it's just putting that image in my head of like an army or something marching down a street. All right, we got some electric guitar coming in now. For a second, I thought there was something wrong with my computer there. The song just completely stopped for like a brief second. That was track 4, Hero. I really liked how militaristic and precise the sound of that one was, but then you had all of that dark, kind of murky, unpolished industrial element to it as well. That's almost this whole album so far. There's a certain precision to it with the beat and everything they're implementing, and even on that song, how they were saying like left, right. Like I said, it was kind of reminiscent of an army marching, and yet it's so unpolished at the same time. I think it's just so cool how they're doing that. All right, moving on to track 5, we have Jesus Built My Hot Rod.
Jerry Lee Lewis was the devil. Jesus was an architect. There was only one thing that I could do. It was ding-a-ding-dang, my dang-along-ling-long.
Okay, interesting start to that song. Again, we've got a lot of vocal distortion on this one. It's kind of got a sort of fuzziness to it.
I wanna love you.
I've got to say, this track has a little bit of a different sound to it from the rest of this album so far. I don't know, it just has a little bit more of a speediness to it with less of the heavy, denser industrial quality. It sounds like they're putting some effects on the electric guitar that's almost giving it a fuzziness too. Now it sounds like faintly sirens or something in the background.
Jesus built my car. Mainly Jesus and my hot rod. Yeah, fuck.
That was track 5, Jesus Built My Hot Rod. Again, great speedy quality to that one. It was kind of interesting how at the start it was just the vocals talking, and then they brought all of the like musical elements into that track. The first half or so of that track, I wasn't picking up on as many of those kind of gritty sounding industrial elements. There was less of a heaviness almost to that one. But then toward the end, they kind of started incorporating that. They brought in that awesome electric guitar, which I loved. So up next is track 6, which is called Scarecrow. Okay, this is that sound I was talking about, that the last track I kind of wanted a little bit more from. It's just this really heavy industrial sound right off the bat, which I love. This song is definitely more drawn out. It still has that really heavy beat to it though. That's very steady. They're definitely being very consistent with that. Yeah, there's a really cool ambience to this song, like sort of that reverberated quality. It's like a very Halloween-y kind of haunted sound. And then that kind of sounds like people faintly yelling or something in the background.
They live without hope.
I love the percussion on this track. It's got this really hollow sound to it. It kind of has a muffled quality too. I just heard some sounds that kind of sounded like ravens almost, and it's interesting that this track is called Scarecrow. It's kind of cool. That was track 6, Scarecrow. I absolutely loved that one. Right up my alley in terms of delivering on that really heavy industrial sound, but it sort of had this drawn out, more languid quality to it as well. A sort of muffledness almost. With the vocals and everything, you couldn't really tell what he was saying because of how distorted they were. I don't know, I love music with that tone. Just the ambiance and that sort of haunted quality, just right up my alley. Okay, up next is track 7, which is the title track, Psalm 69.
Congregation, please be seated. Psalm 69.
Dang, such a big sound to this song right off the start here. I feel like my heart is being touched by Christ. Is that what she's saying? Again, with the vocals, they're just so like growly and deep sounding.
Psalm 16.
Okay, it's like the song keeps going back and forth between that more speedy industrial sound that the rest of the album has had, and then this part is just very different. It almost sounds like you're being resurrected or something, like lifted up. And then they go right back into that more industrial groove. I don't know what that effect is. It's a strange noise.
The way to succeed and the way to suck eggs.
The way to succeed and the way to suck eggs. I'm not really sure what the meaning of that is. Very interesting ending to that song. But that was track 7, Psalm 69. That track to me almost epitomizes the album cover of this record. How on the album cover it's like an angel kind of almost floating up toward this light, and that song to me sounded like that. It was almost going back and forth between this really heavenly angelic sound, and then they would bring it back down into those murky industrial depths, and it was just a great dynamic between those two elements. I'm not sure what to think about the beginning and end of that track with the talking in kind of that weird accented voice. Definitely some quirky things on this album for sure, but overall the sound of that one I thought was just fantastic. Moving on to track 8, we have Corrosion. It almost sounds like a motorcycle revving, and then it's been all distorted. Right off the start with this one, I'm getting some really strong Broken by 9 Inch Nails vibes. It sounds like a machine gun. Man, this song is doing some really crazy stuff. I love it. Yeah, this song is just like an attack. It's just coming at you with so much force. I can't afford cancer. Is that what I'm hearing? Man, that was track 8, Corrosion. I absolutely loved that track. I'd say Corrosion is a very appropriate title for it. It almost sounded like that song was just breaking down, like decomposing. And I would say for someone who's never heard industrial music, who's not at all familiar with the genre, that song to me is like the absolute perfect example of what industrial music sounds like. It just has all the elements there. It had that steady beat through the whole thing, but then they were just doing some amazing sound effects and distortions. They changed that song up so much. But I'm going to move on to the final track on Psalm 69, which is track 9 called Grace. Very ambient, very dark and sludgy here at the beginning. And now there's some shrieks and wails going on. Yeah, it's just like a barrage of noises and distortion and just a whirlwind of sound going on. Well, that was track 9, Grace, the final song on Psalm 69. A very ambient song. It didn't really have that, like, danceable, high energy quality to it that a lot of the other tracks on this album have had. Just kind of this dark, sludgy blend of sounds, and it almost sounded like the final descent into the depths of hell with the screaming and everything, and that voice was just repeating like Doomsday, Armageddon. But I really did love the variety of sounds and effects that they were using on that track. Just the way they sort of distorted them and muddled them almost, it just made for a very unsettling way to end this album. Well, that completes my reaction to Psalm 69, the 5th studio album from the band Ministry. I can certainly see now why it's considered like a staple album for industrial music, because it does have all of those amazing qualities that make industrial music what it is as a genre, and they just blended them together so well. I loved how upbeat and like danceable this album was at times, but then it had that amazing darkness and that sludgy heavy quality to its sound, and they just blended those two elements so well. I would say my favorite tracks right now, probably track 2, Just One Fix. Like I said in my reaction, I've actually heard that one before and just didn't know it was Ministry, but that one just had an amazing danceability to it. I loved the beat of that track. Also, Scarecrow was a standout for me, very atmospheric and slowed down for this album, and I loved that haunted quality it had to its tone. And track 8, Corrosion, was absolutely a standout. That one was just such a sludgy blend of sounds, and it just brought the heaviness, which I loved. But after listening to Psalm 69, I definitely love Ministry's sound, and I am looking forward to going and listening to the rest of their albums now and seeing what else they're going to bring to the table for industrial music. Definitely let me know in the comments which Ministry album I should do a video for next. And yeah, as usual, thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned, and I will see you in the next video.